Nice to finally meet you.
Well, thanks, Bill. I appreciate the invitation. I've been waiting a long time. I finally showed up.
That's our bad then. We didn't get the invitation out in time. We'll get into all kinds of stuff. I have so many questions for you, but we should probably start in one particular area. And I'm just talking dad to dad here. You got to be proud. Because Gwen has, she's in the gubernatorial race, doing very well so far. And any kind of politics aside, just as a man who has raised a daughter, that has to just make your heart swell.
Well, my wife and I have actually raised 4 daughters, so we know something about that.
You're a pro. I'm only on 2.
Pro at that. But I am very proud of Gwen, and she's gone about it the right way. I mean, she's 55 years old.
Right.
So
right.
She's had a lot of life experiences, and those have all added to her ability to be an effective public servant.
Absolutely.
After having been a mother, PTA president, for 7 years, the attorney for the Leon County, that's Tallahassee School District, she decided that she was dissatisfied with the person who had represented that part of Florida in the U.S. Congress.
Okay.
It's a very conservative area of the state, but she threw her hat in the ring in 2014, and a year and a half later, she was elected. In fact, there were only 2 Democrats elected who defeated an incumbent Republican in 2014. She was one of those 2.
That's because that's a Republican stronghold. Yeah. I know. I get that.
And then when she went to Congress, she said, I'm going to apply some of the same lessons that I've learned in this campaign, and that is that you're nice to everybody. You don't just assume that because someone may have a different letter after their name that they aren't a potential friend and ally. And at the end of her 2 years in Congress, Georgetown University has an annual rating of members of Congress, Senate and House, on who's the most effective, who can work across the aisle to get things accomplished. She was the number 1 person out of the 27 members of the House from Florida, and was number 8 of all 435 members in the whole Congress.
Look at that.
For a freshman to be able to accomplish that, I think was just amazing. And it's that kind of skill and ability and motivation to try to build bridges and not walls that I think will make her an extremely effective governor.
You make an important point there, and I know just following you, you made this a point to make it part of your political career as well. Put that life experience into the job that you have to do, whether it was when your term as governor or a Florida senator after that. Do you find a lot of elected leaders these days, all of a sudden they become a policy expert and they forget about the human element of the entire thing?
And they become narrower people because as you acquire more influence, for instance, you become chairman of a subcommittee and then finally chairman of a full committee.
You're just a politician at that point, right?
Yeah, and you exclude most of the other things for which you have some responsibility to focus on that narrow area.
Yeah.
Gwen has certainly avoided that trap. In fact, now she's doing something that I did for 30 years, which is to take different jobs. I started teaching a semester of high school civics back in the 1970s, and from that did 408 other jobs over a period from the mid-70s to 2005 when I finally retired.
You must have been thinking, okay, if this leadership thing doesn't work out, at least I have all these items on my resume.
I've got
baby.
I have a long, if not great, resume.
Right, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
You got to look at this though, and there's the proud element of it. You raised a daughter. At any point in time, though, can you recall saying to any of your daughters, any of your family members, don't get into politics, don't do it?
No, I wouldn't do that because it meant so much to me in my life. It was a way to give back. My family's been in Florida on my mother's side since 1885,
wow.
and on my father's side since 1921. And this state has been wonderful to our family, and one of the ways that you can recognize that is through public service. And
right.
I had the opportunity to represent the people of Florida for 38 years. very proud, and I'm proud that my daughter is now taking a similar track.
Former Florida Senator and Governor Bob Graham in studio with us live. And I got to ask you this, too, because just I think the overall tone and temperament of politics, especially with these midterm elections coming up, it's gotten, I don't know, at least since I've been following it, nastier than ever. How would you see yourself if you were in your daughter's place running right now? And you see things, Senator, like elected officials, the Mitch McConnell deal the other day, trying to come outside of a restaurant and he's getting harassed and they're yelling, "We know where you live." How would you, as candidate Graham, handle something like that in this day and age?
Well, first, you're right. There has been a serious decline in just basic civility, just dealing with people as human beings with some respect and dignity. I hope that had I been put in a situation as Mitch was, that you would handle it with some grace and decorum and not get overly excited about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what Mitch and I had an interesting, I don't know if interesting is the right word, but we shared a similar experience. We both had heart surgery on the same day in the same place.
Really?
At Bethesda Naval Hospital. And as a result of that, we spent the better part of a week in our pajamas and slippers taking our first steps
right
after the surgery. So that's an interesting way to develop a friendship, but it's a pretty permanent brand.
Talk about your guard being down.
Experience.
Right.
Yeah.
They say people can't tell a lie when you're naked. Well, when you have pajamas on, Senator, that's probably the same deal.
Pretty close, yeah.
That's pretty good. Can I keep you a little longer? We got to break for some commercials right now.
Sure.
But I have so many things I need to ask you. We could spend a lot of time together. I want to ask you about just how you've seen Florida in particular develop. You were a big part of that, and you off the air you were telling me the story about the VA we have in West Palm Beach and how that's developed. You were a big part of that during your term as well, so I'd love to ask you that if you get the time.
Yep. Bill, my time is your time.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. And he's coming up next, 850 WFTL.